Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame. Okay, so y'all see the title, so this is gonna be kind of a heavy situation, so we ain't gonna fake the funk and all of that. So let me go ahead and get into the video and say what I would like to say on the subject at hand. So, I have seen various places that are stating this man's name, and I'm like, is it Rashad or is it Rayshard? Or Rayshad. Like, I'm just confused because I thought it was Rashad Brooks. So, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to say his name is Rashad Brooks. For those of you who have not heard, he was in a Wendy's parking lot sleeping. Unless this was just hearsay or whatever, apparently he was actually in the drive-thru asleep and he was intoxicated and he was just sitting there asleep. People didn't know what was going on, and I guess that management had been informed or somebody called the police, and the actual police arrived, and he was interrogated, and a lot of the things that he was asked, I don't even understand why these were things that were asked. It didn't even make any sense to me. Like, what do you need to know why he has a couple of $100 in his pocket for? Like, that makes no sense. It's not like he had thousands of dollars and you saw some traces of dust from cocaine or something on the bills. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the point of them asking it. Like, he had a few $100 bills in his pocket and some ones or whatever. It was obvious that he had had too much to drink, and he'd even admitted that, and they were talking about him submitting to a sobriety test. I think he did it, but the conversation continued, and he was like, look, I know I'm drunk. I could just park my car over there in the parking lot and just walk to my sister's house. My sister lived right up the street, and he said he don't live too far away himself, unless he was referring to the sister to begin with when he was saying that he doesn't live that far away. He just lives like right up the street. So all this time, the conversation is going on, and he's just like, I have a daughter. I think he actually has 3 kids. But he was saying that he's a father, and he's just trying to get home to his kids. And he explained what he was out that evening doing and all this other stuff. And it's just like, come on now. Well, it just got to a point that for some reason, nobody could say, well, he has all this money on him. He could have easily afforded an Uber, a cab, something like that. He could have put him in a cab. He could have been allowed to sleep it off in a car, as we've seen people do before. So his car could have just been over in a parking lot, or the police themselves could have just taken him home. Like, I see so many scenarios where it could have gone completely in the right direction, but for some reason the ball was dropped yet again. So they get to a point where they weren't trying to hear nothing he was saying, when he actually said something about, I could just walk up to my sister's house. She doesn't live that far away at all. I could just walk to her house and sleep it off and just leave my car here overnight. And people are all in the drive-thru. I've seen various angles of the situation as it unfolded. And they go to put him under arrest, and then they end up, first of all, there are 2 police officers. So I'm already like, okay, y'all doing a lot, but okay. They are handcuffing him. Excuse me. They've handcuffed him, and he's kind of feeling like, all right, now, in my mind, I feel like he was just like, even though he was, inebriated, he probably felt like, okay, this is a little bit too much, and this might not end well for me. I don't know. I don't know what he could have been thinking, but he ended up putting up a fight, and he was able to get away from them. They tried to tase him. He ended up grabbing the taser of one of the other people that was there, one of the other officers, and he ran. He had his back to them. He turned around briefly, and I don't know if the light that I saw was him trying to discharge it, but in my mind, that's beside the point, because they actually go through training so that if a situation like that were to happen, they would be able to withstand whatever happens to them, because it's like they would kind of be somewhat immune to it, or it's not that bad to them versus just a regular person like me. Well, I think that the first person's discharged, and it didn't do much of anything to him because he was able to still struggle with both of them, get up, run, and he had it in his hand with the other one. So he turned around, and then he continued running after he turned around, and he tried to shoot at them. The other one, I think it didn't discharge, or he tried to discharge it. And for whatever reason, they both were running. He ended up, somebody eventually sat up there and shot him 3-4 times in the back. Well, something that I was confused about was, how is it that the body cam magically was just taken off? Because I think that Atlanta is one of the places that has the body cams that cut on as soon as you got your hand on the trigger, as soon as you get out the car, as soon as, it seemed like a situation popping off or whatever, or it's rolling all at the same time. Because some places they have it where you can't sit up there and try to say, oh, well, this happened. This is why I discharged my weapon. And I don't know why I didn't turn my cam on. I forgot to turn it on. I was in the middle of the moment. No, either it's rolling at all times, or hopefully they've updated it to where if you're trying to discharge any of your weapons, you take it out of the holster and all this other stuff, it's gonna alert something in the system, and then it's going to be actually turned on. Whether you had it on or not, it's gonna be on. But yeah, this man was killed. Apparently they've been standing there talking to him for at least 20 minutes because somebody said it in the background. They were like, why'd you have to kill him? Why'd you have to shoot at him? You were talking to him for 20 minutes and all this other stuff. I just find it interesting that the body cam somehow was detached from one of the officers' bodies, and pretty sure it was the one who shot him. So it was like, oh, well, whoops, it fell off. I don't know what happened there type of situation. But there were people who were recording, and they actually seemed to have footage from the actual Wendy's itself. Well, people were outraged. They were outraged to the point where I heard that the Wendy's was set on fire and went up in smoke, and I saw video footage and camera stills of people who have blocked off I-75. People are tired, way deep down in their spirit and in their soul. And I don't blame them. I am very saddened by this. Yet another death that, in my opinion, could have been avoided. Yes, he did try to fight back in an effort to possibly think that he was going to run away and live to see another day, but he ended up getting killed. I am confused as to why they didn't just let him continue to run away. If he was going to run to the sister house or run into the bushes and eventually into the actual shrubbery and the woods or whatever, why didn't they just let him do that? The car was there. They would have been able to have access to the car, the registration, and all that stuff, because that was supposedly his car. So they would have been able to find out where he lives, or at least run his name. If for whatever reason they never had his name, I think they actually did see all his stuff, so they knew that he was a registered driver and all that stuff. So I feel like they would have been able to run his name, find out the places or the place where he actually lived and all this other stuff, and they would have been able to pick him up at a later time, because his car was there. They could have just impounded the car. He would have either tried to come and get the car, and then whatever would have happened from there. Like, I'm just like, I feel like there was so many different things that could have been done completely different, and this would have had a different outcome. I'm just saddened by the fact that there were so many Black people who have been in various comment sections saying that he brought it on himself, and don't just put up the video of him getting killed. He took their taser. And I'm just like, yeah, he was unarmed, and then he struggled with them, and 2 people were wrestling him to the ground. And before they were trying to put him under arrest, he already said, I can walk to my sister's house. My sister's house is right up the street. Like, she lives right there. So he has already said, I have a family. I just don't want nothing to pop off. I can just walk to my sister's house and leave my car and come back after I sobered up. Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have said, oh, well, okay, I'm going to give you a ticket. You need to, write him a ticket or something. You could have wrote that man a ticket and said, look, you was out here for public drunkenness or whatever and all this other stuff. Let him have to fight that in court and allow him to, I mean, even if you were going to arrest him, I just feel like even if everything happened exactly the way it did up until they shot him, they could have just let him run and went in his car and saw where his name was, which I think they already knew what it was, and run his information and pick him up. Like, I'm confused. Within a week's time, they should have been able to locate him. He would have been trying to come and get his car from wherever the car would have been taken to, because of course it would not just be able to just stay there. They probably would have just called somebody to come and get it, and he would have to call around town to see where the car was. And as soon as he tried to do that, if they weren't able to apprehend him first, they would have been able to get the person who owns that business to say, hey, he called, he looking for the car, he about to come down here. And they would have been able to get him. Like, am I wrong in thinking that that's a way that actually could have gone down versus what actually happened? Like, I feel like there are so many situations where you could have easily avoided killing somebody. I don't understand why people are so against if this person is running away. And I really feel like they're just going to be a danger to themselves or somebody else. Let me wound them. Not let me empty clips into people and shoot 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times into their back, or just shoot them up. Even if they have their hands directly up in the sky, don't have anything on them, don't have drugs, whether these people are inebriated, have drugs in their system or not, there are people who fully comply and still get killed. I feel like no matter what you do, I just got to the point, it's like, it's crazy. Have y'all seen this video? There's a video that is circulating. When I tell you, it took everything in me not to cry. It was a short video. A little Black girl saw a police officer. She immediately had fear overcome her body to the point where this girl was just like, oh my gosh, I think they're gonna shoot me. This little girl had her hands up, petrified, scared, shaking it, all this. And the woman gonna walk up to her and was like, you don't have to be like that. All of us aren't like that. Like, she's really trying to talk to her and explain to her, like, all cops aren't like that. But it is sad that children see this. This is the norm. This is the norm. This has been the norm for forever, but a lot of things are just now being put out there and going viral. So I'm just like, this is just a new day. It's just a new day, the same stuff. The same exact stuff, and just a new day. And that tore my nerves down. That really hurt my soul when I saw that little girl get petrified when she saw a police officer. She just literally saw her. She saw the woman, saw that she had on a police or sheriff's uniform, and immediately feared for her life. This child could not have even been 10 years old. That girl was so scared. The woman tried to tell her, oh, you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be scared of me. And all, like, she really tried to get through to her. Girl was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I cannot imagine being so young and being that fearful. For me, even though I've been through things in my life, like I've been through some traumatic things even as a child, but when it came to police, I'm telling you, up until I was in my 20s, you would have been able to come to me and talk to me and say, F the police and all that. And I've been like, don't say that. All police aren't like that, which is still true. But my response used to be, if you have a problem, call the police. Do you think that's my stance now? That ain't been my stance in I don't know how long. Like, I used to be the main one who would tell you, call the police if there is an issue. You don't have to resort to this. Just call the police. Don't try to handle something on your own. Just call the police. Like, my response was, call the police. They'll help you. They are, sworn to do certain things. They're not gonna, be an issue. Lies. Like, that is just something that always stuck with me, and I always really fully believed in that until I got older and I started to see more and more of these heinous crimes against Black people. And I've already mentioned before that, yes, there are a lot of instances where there are people, all nationalities, who have committed some sort of crime, and they might be in the middle of being apprehended or whatever. And whether they are armed or not, in most cases, the Black people are the ones who get beaten to a pulp or they get killed. In more cases than not, the white people are the ones who get to go home or get in a cell and live to see another day. That is the issue. That is why people are out here protesting, because y'all see somebody Black, you automatically think it's a problem. But when that little girl sees cops, she automatically thinks it's a problem, because that is what she has seen with her own two eyes happen to people who are Black. So I understand her reacting the way that she does, which is truly sad. I get that. But when these people are out here literally having their hand on the trigger, being trigger happy, if they feel like, just in their mind, they just feel like, okay, this is somebody Black, I'm probably gonna have to pull this gun out and kill him. Or I'm gonna walk up to the car or walk up to the person with the gun trained on them off rip because they Black and they're animals and they're all these things, which is why people like Trina need to go somewhere and sit down, because you are feeding into the stereotype and saying the same things that the racist white people, the ones who don't value Black lives in any capacity, whether they are doing everything right in life or doing wrong and just need some guidance to get on the right path, you are a part of the problem. People like Candace Owens, or whatever her name is, who is trash. Diamond and whatever that heifer's name is, that was all for Trump because they was getting paid. And the Hodge twins are trash. I feel as though the only reason why they stay having traction and people live for them is because they are light-skinned with light eyes. That is the only reason why. Because had it been somebody else who didn't look the way they look, because they are not terrible looking people, but to me, like, I've never understood the fascination. I'm just like, oh, y'all live for them because they light skinned with light eyes. Oh, okay. Like, stop. They always have some trash spewing out of their mouths. So it's like, why do you live for that? To me, that makes a person ugly, even if they are the most gorgeous or most handsome person in the world. Like, they are trash. And I'm just like, people be living for their rhetoric. And I'm like, why? And it would not surprise me if they have some Trump money and Trump checks in their bank accounts. Like, people like that, they get sought after. Especially if you are considered to be Black. Like, you could tell they have at least a drop of Black somewhere in them, even though they light skinned. I'm just saying, like, people like that, it just tear my nerves down. It's this other guy, I can't remember his name. It's like something Williams. He is trash too. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of the Drew Breeses of the world who love to say, oh, why do y'all have a problem with the flag? I don't understand why y'all have a problem with the flag. My grandfather and my father and my this and my that did this for the flag. And I'm like, where I'm from, the flag is an issue. There is a place along the interstate. A lot of y'all who are from Alabama and all that have passed through, y'all already know what it is. But it's a place. It is heavily guarded because there are people who've tried to destroy that flag. It is humongous. I remember the first time I passed by that flag, it's like I got so enraged, and I was young. I saw that flag, I was like, why? Now, I don't know how many people understand what the flag means to racist people, to racist white people and ignorant black people. That flag, that Confederate flag, means white power, KKK type of foolishness to the white racist people. Those are the ones who have the pickup trucks that have the flags plastered all over the truck. They're the ones who have them posted up in their yard, in their windows, on the house. They will buy clothes that have Confederate flags all on it. They live for that flag more than they live for the flag that's supposed to represent the United States of America. It's just true. I was partially shocked, but not really, when I heard about NASCAR doing what they did, at least at the Talladega 500, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to them banning that flag. And they said that, you know, they're not going to allow any of the people who race or anybody who is a sponsor and all this other stuff to have any dealings with that flag on their premises and all this other stuff. There are so many people who support NASCAR who live for that flag. Believe it or not, I used to watch NASCAR on Sundays religiously. I don't know what that was about, but I did. I'm into all kinds of stuff. I'm into all sorts of things that are supposed to be for sports and entertainment. I am. Live for NASCAR. I used to live for baseball. I would sit up there and watch that. I used to live for the NFL. I definitely live for the NCAA football when my team is playing, and the SWAC when my school is playing. I mean, I used to live for all kinds of stuff. But I really used to sit there and watch NASCAR every Sunday. I don't know why. Like, there's nothing amazing about it. I don't know what it was. I would sit there and watch it. And over the past few years or whatever, I've seen some black people come into it. I know of at least one black woman who's in it. She's been in for a while. And there is a black man who has been racing, whose name is Bubba. Ironic, huh? His name is Bubba. And I'm pretty sure that he is ecstatic that that's gone every time he would go up in there, because you get paid exceptionally well. It's a dangerous job. Even though a lot of people might not understand the purpose of it, it is very dangerous. You got to drive and speed with speeds over 200 and some miles per hour. I have seen the people crashing out and stuff bursting into flames. I thought people were gonna die on live television. Like, I've seen that before. So yeah, I can only imagine that Bubba would go to work and see the other people who he was supposed to race against live for that flag. He knows what it means when people like that live for that flag, and he had to work in that environment and kind of just be like, okay, I'm gonna come in here and work and go home. That's my attitude at the job that I currently work at. But when I get into my for real career, I feel like I shouldn't have to feel like that. I shouldn't have to be like, well, let me get this check and I'm just here to work. I'm just here to work and go home. That's it. Nope, I don't like to feel like that. I feel like I'm going to get to a place where I'm not going to have to feel like that anymore. But I'm saying I really honestly feel like Bubba felt like that. And it just was like, okay, this is my career. I got to do what I got to do. Hopefully things will change. I think that he has been pro-black, but it just is what it is. That crowd, the people who live for NASCAR, most of them are the type of people who live for that flag. A lot of people have already said, I will no longer support this. There are some people who think that when it's actually opened back up to the public, that they're going to come in and drive in, or however they're going to watch it, and they're still going to have all this stuff. I don't know how they're going to be able to police it, so to speak. I don't know how they're going to be able to do that, because there are so many people that are at that track. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it, because how you going to tell this person to leave and there's somebody that's all the way on the other side somewhere that's going to have a flag too and going to try to sneak it in, and they're going to do the most? And what if it's a woman's purse that's made in that way? Like, are y'all going to put out some kind of rules and regulations that the people are going to have to abide by before they are allowed to come back up in there? Because I'm not understanding how that's going to go, because it's just too many people to keep track of. It really is. But I said all that to say this. I've always been taught the real reason why there are so many people, especially in the South, that live for that flag. Same goes for the statues of like Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis and all those people. All of this stuff still connects back to Black lives not actually mattering. Slave owners. A lot of this stuff is connected to the economic wealth of the slave owners. And it's like, do y'all understand that y'all are living for a flag that is, and these monuments and all this crap that supports not believing that Black lives matter? Believing that Black people are non-existent and don't have a right to do anything or be anything? We aren't considered to even be humans? Like, are y'all aware of that? And I feel like a lot of people are aware of that. No matter how much of a hillbilly hick, as some people would like to say, some of these people claim to be. And actually don't even feel offended when people call them that. It's ridiculous to me. I've just been looking like, y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. They are really going crazy over these people taking stuff down and renaming stuff. I am very thrilled that my alma mater has actually, they're in the process of renaming several of the places on campus, several of the buildings. Yeah, because these people were racist, and I know back in the day that for you to have a big institution, you kind of had to have a white hand, so to speak, in the mix in order to get some things going in your direction to get on the level that you really want to be on. But anyway, y'all, I'll be here all day if I keep going into that. But hopefully y'all get my drift. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about all this foolishness that's going on with all of what I've mentioned as far as Rashad is concerned, that raggedy flag, and those trash statues. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.